Hi Taurus. Today we are looking at May 12th, 2025. That's the full moon in Scorpio. And we'll look at Taurus Sun, Moon, and Rising with specific messages for each. We'll look at numerology and astrology and the tarot cards. And we'll end the reading with advice for your sign. And in the description box, I have links to meditations for each of the tarot cards I drew for you today. So, numerology. And the number for that day is 8. The number 8 is about power and mastery and transformation. So for Taurus, this number is asking, where are you ready to rise? Reclaim your voice and set firmer boundaries. You may decide to finally raise your prices, end a toxic work agreement, or commit to a fitness goal you've been dancing around. The 8 reminds you, you are the authority of your life, and it's time to act like it. So the astrology for the day, and that's the full moon in Scorpio. And this full moon lands on your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, and one-on-one connections. Scorpio intensifies everything. So themes around power dynamics, emotional vulnerability, or deep transformation in relationships are up for release and renewal. So we'll start with the sun. The sun is in Taurus. That's your 1st house. That's about self and identity and your physical body. The focus is on you, your values, your needs, and how you show up in the world. You might realize you've been playing small in a relationship, always compromising your needs, and this full moon invites you to reclaim your worth. Now let's look at the moon. So the moon is in Scorpio. That's your 7th house. That's intimate connections. That's emotional intensity peaks in partnerships. So expect revelations, endings, or breakthroughs. Now, a deep talk with your partner might reveal hidden resentment or a long-standing fear of abandonment. This is the moment of truth and healing. And then we have a Mercury. Mercury is in Taurus, and that's your 1st house again. That's communication and self-expression. So you're expressing yourself more clearly, but also more stubbornly, Taurus. There's power in speaking your truth, but try to stay open. So you speak up about wanting more space in a relationship, but the delivery is blunt. Mercury reminds you to temper truth with some tenderness. Venus. Venus is in Aries. That's your 12th house. That's subconscious and letting go. And you might uncover hidden desires, secret crushes, or old emotional wounds needing closure. You realize you're still comparing new dates with your ex, and it's time to fully release that old narrative. Okay? And then we have Mars. And Mars is in Aries also. And that's going to talk about repressed anger and internal drive. So you might be feeling fired up internally, even if you don't show it. There may be unspoken frustrations needing an outlet. So a real life example would be you lash out at someone over something really small, but it's really about something much deeper. Mars says, name the real issue. Stop dancing around it. Okay? Now let's look at your cards, Taurus. And we have, hi, where's the camera? There you are. We have the Devil. And the Devil is about temptation and attachment and feeling stuck. So this card appears when you're chained to something that gives short-term comfort but long-term consequences. It reflects old habits, fear-based choices, or being seduced by something shiny that isn't actually good for you. You keep going back to a toxic ex because it's easier than facing loneliness, or you're obsessed over your social media image while avoiding real life intimacy. So here's your advice. Awareness breaks the spell. The chain is loose. You can walk away, but only if you're willing to stop playing small. So the 5 of inspiration is the 5 of wands. And that's going to talk about conflict, competition, and inner tension. So this card brings up chaos, scattered energy, and the challenge of trying to be heard among all that noise. It can reflect tension with others, but often it's about inner voice that's split into 5 directions. And so a real life example might be you and your partner keep arguing over logistics, but underneath it's really about control. Or you might start a creative project, but your inner critic, your fear of failure, and your people pleaser all chime in at once. So here's your advice. Tune out the noise. Not every battle is worth entering. Get clear on what you want and let the rest fall away. And then we have the Lovers. Hi, camera. And the Lovers talks about alignment, soul level choice, heart connection. This card is about sacred choice, not just between lovers, but between paths and values or versions of yourself. It's about choosing alignment over convenience and love over fear. So for example, you've decided whether to stay in a relationship that's comfortable but lacks a soul connection. Or you meet someone who mirrors your deepest truth and it scares you because it feels real. So here's your advice. Ask not what looks right. Ask what feels right. Choose the path that leads you closer to love, not deeper into fear. So now let's talk about Taurus Sun, Moon, and Rising. Taurus Sun. You're being asked to examine your patterns, especially in love and self-worth. A shift in how you relate to others is unfolding. So you end a relationship that was more about habit than harmony, and it feels like a rebirth. Taurus Moon. Your emotions are deep, raw, and rising from the depths. You may feel triggered, but also deeply insightful. So example, you have a sudden emotional outburst, then realize it's connected to a childhood pattern. It's healing, not regression. Taurus Rising. Your outer world and inner alignment are clashing. You may feel pressured to present a polished version of yourself while craving authenticity. For example, you cancel plans and go off-grid for a day to reconnect with what you want, not what others expect. The Lovers applauds this. What this day means to Taurus on May 12, 2025. It's a day of truth, of transformation, and turning points. The full moon in Scorpio is an emotional reckoning, and your tarot trio confirms that the heart of it all is choice between fear and love, comfort and growth. The Devil asks, what are you clinging to out of fear? The 5 of Wands asks, are you fighting everyone because you're avoiding the real fight within? And the Lovers ask, what would it look like to choose your soul fully and unapologetically? Here's the real life takeaway. Let go of the habits and connections that drain you, even if they once felt like home. Say no to noise, internally and externally, and return to your center. When you stand at a crossroads, choose what truly aligns. Even if it's harder, it is more honest. Here's the advice for the day for Taurus. This is your turning point. Break the chains, clear the chaos, and come home to love. You're not here to live halfway. You're here to live fully, wildly and in radiant truth. Thank you, Taurus. That was a great reading, and I hope to see you in another reading.